Welcome to questions and responses for the gallbladder. And this is going to be exciting. And please, a comment on this video, like and subscribe this, and share this vital life-saving information. And we can literally change the world. Now, let's get into this. Okay, question 1. What causes gallbladder problems? From Mike Green. So what is the catalyst for these reactions? Science says you can't just go making stuff up. Yeah, trust the science. No, science is always changing. Okay, but you do have to have a hypothesis. And then you come up with supporting data or non-supporting data. The best way to do that is to prove the opposite. Okay, and this is brilliant. So when we look at what gallstones are and what forms them, and how the body responds to certain stressors. Now, there's physical, chemical, and emotional stress. What's interesting is the adrenal glands are going to produce the same stress hormones, adrenaline or epinephrine, norepinephrine, cortisol, to respond to these three stressors. Now, the hormones are going to go through and do their job, and then they get filtered from the spleen over to the liver, and then the liver breaks them down into the bile salts, okay, or the bile, which is stored and concentrated by the gallbladder. And so in 1996 or 1997, we were doing an experiment at Cleveland Chiropractic College on cardiac arrhythmias. And it was really interesting. The two doctors that were running it, I was just an assistant, they actually sliced through gallstones. And when I was doing human dissection, I had a jar of gallstones, and they're so cool. They're super, super light, little green color, but they feel almost like volcanic rock where they should be heavier. But when you slice them into, there's a crystalline formation that they said, the doctors there went through and analyzed it and said it looked like mainly stress hormones. And sure enough, when you look at people who have gallbladder issues, they're in a chronic state of either physical, chemical, or emotional stress. So when you're looking at this, how to eliminate the gallstones are to address the stressors effectively, not the response to the stress. Because under any physical, chemical, or emotional stress, your liver is going to start producing more cholesterol, because cholesterol is the precursor to every stress hormone that you make. And so more and more and more stress is going to cause the liver to work harder and harder and to increase the amount of the stress hormones, the cortisol, epinephrine, norepinephrine, or adrenalines. And that's going to continue with this feedback loop of thickening the gallbladder. And will literally, because the common bile duct, which drains from the gallbladder and the liver, you'll see gallbladder sludge in there in people with a chronic state of stress. And that's why we actually do soft tissue adjustments. So you can see gallbladder sludge, which is the precursor to the formation of the gallstones. You can also eliminate the gallstones by doing citric acid, apple juice, a lot of great studies on turmeric. There's a lot of ways to eliminate it, but you got to still address the underlying physical, chemical, and emotional stressors. And then by addressing the underlying stressors, then your body is going to have the healthy gallbladder, which all the gallbladder does is stores and concentrates the bile. And then when fat hits that duodenum, bam, that gallbladder contracts in order to release that bile. And this is going to emulsify the fats to fatty acids. So it helps you digest those fatty acids. So the gallbladder function is to store and concentrate the bile. So if the bile production is high in the stress hormones, it's going to start to coagulate and form these little stones. And you're going to see that is absolutely the best explanation of gallstone formation that I have ever seen. There's also other issues with the liver as doing toxic fats and things, cottonseed oil, things that were not designed, a lot of the seed oils that were not designed to metabolize. Question 2, do you need your gallbladder? From Mary Abraham. My daughter was 18 when they wanted to remove her gallbladder because it was functioning less than 30%. I told him this is not the way and you should know why it's not functioning. The doctor told me he doesn't know and you have to remove it because you don't need it. Oh my gosh. You can live without certain parts. You can live with one kidney. You can live without the tonsils. You can live without the gallbladder. That doesn't mean you don't need it. You can live without the appendix, but if you've had the appendix removed, you have the 60% increased risk of colon cancer. So all of these have certain functions. And so when you look at the function of the gallbladder, and also knowing that your daughter, who's 18 years old, her gallbladder is functioning 30%, she's going to have gallbladder sludge, or she's going to have some type of chronic stress state. And it's weird to think 18-year-olds with chronic stress. Let me tell you, being a teenager is one of the most stressful times of a human's life. So when you're addressing the underlying stressors, because she does have it, physical, chemical, emotional stress, she may have also had recurrent infections, UTIs, or ear infections that caused her antibiotic use, which is going to also cause a leaky gut, which is going to increase cortisol, which is the natural anti-inflammatory produced by the adrenal glands. So if cortisol is elevated, then the gallbladder, the bile inside of the gallbladder starts to form sludge, and that's going to decrease the ability of that gallbladder to contract and release that bile in the duodenum. It's the ignorance of doctors, because if they knew the importance of what a gallbladder does, that it helps you emulsify fats to fatty acids. And you need fatty acids for every hormone. You need it for good skin, good hair, good nails, good immune system function, good hormone production. So you need a gallbladder, okay? You can live without it. If it's been removed, you can take ox bile. You got to address the underlying stressors that cause the issue in the first place. But there's a big ignorance of doctors. The son of one of my patients had the appendix removed, and the doctor said, well, the appendix is from back when we had tails. The appendix is part of the intestinal tract. Show me an animal that has an intestinal tract in the tail. It's just, they don't teach critical thinking in schools anymore. Question 3 from alkalinized water from Teresa de la Vega. What about alkalinized water? Wouldn't it neutralize the acid and have an effect on digestion and assimilation of nutrients and minerals, etc.? Absolutely, it will. One of the things is most people's diets, particularly if you're eating processed food or fast foods, it's very, very acidic, and you need to alkalinize it. This is why alkalinized water is so popular, because it's a higher pH, and it'll help to balance that pH, that 7.35 to 7.45 that we need our blood. The problem is if you're going to drink a half hour before a meal, during a meal, or a half hour after, not just alkalinized water, I'm talking anything to dilute the stomach acid, that's going to be a negative. It's going to absolutely affect digestion, assimilation, and breakdown of the amino acids. It's going to decrease your body's ability to absorb minerals, everything. So alkalinized water is good, but I definitely don't recommend drinking a half hour before a meal, during a meal, or a half hour after. Great question. Question 4 from Neutralize, 1985. How to become a more robust at digestion of fats. Look at the chronic stress states, and also look at the healthy gallbladder function. Because if you're in a chronic state of stress, the bile becomes thick, like sludge-like. And if your chiropractor can do a soft tissue adjustment, and you'll see, you're going from the left to the right in a small C shape, because that's literally where the duodenum is. You're going to feel a line right in the middle. Feels almost like a small pencil. And that's gallbladder sludge. So getting that to work. Also, look at diaphragmatic breathing. The liver is right below the diaphragm. And so when you're breathing, that diaphragm is going to be moving all the lymph flow in the entire digestive tract. And then, not just digestion of fats, let's look at digestion of everything. Your body has an automatic nervous system. One part keeps you alive under stress, and that's sympathetic. The other part regenerates tissue, and that's parasympathetic. So the rest, digest, and repair is under parasympathetic control. So if you're in a chronic state of stress, you're going to have poor digestion of everything. Carbohydrate, proteins, and fats. So look at addressing the underlying stressors. Physical stress, you can identify on x-rays. Also, nerve scans can identify it. A chemical stress could be seen in poor sleep patterns or poor bowel movements, medication use, toxic food, and then emotional stress. If you're young and healthy, like say, your mid 60s and you're not functioning strong and healthy the way you should be, bam, that's an emotional stressor. Okay. Or your mid 30s or your mid 40s or your mid 20s. I get people in the office 25 and they're saying, yeah, man, I'm not a teenager anymore. No, we've got to change that view. You're supposed to be healthy and dynamic your whole life. So look at autonomic nervous system function first, and that's going to be a balance of your sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. Look at issues with the pelvis and cervical spine, where the parasympathetic or resting, digesting, and repairing is located. And by addressing those underlying stressors, and also make sure you're taking healthy fats. And I mean healthy fats like avocado, coconut oil, grass-fed butter, cheeses, fermented cheeses from healthy animals. Okay, fatty fish, fantastic. Mackerel, anchovy, cod liver oil, anchovies, amazing. There's a lot of sources of healthy fats. And look at unhealthy, toxic fats, such as the seed oil, canola oil, cottonseed oil. Those things are not designed for human consumption. Question 5 on gallbladder removal from 3 different people. Golden Honeybee said, what do we do after gallbladder has been removed? D. Bowman, I had mine removed and still have gallbladder pain time to time. Why is that? Great question. And from IMCDF Ferg, gallbladder has been removed. Is there anything I should be doing to counteract that? Okay, once the gallbladder's been removed, and gall pain, okay, is going to be pain on the right-hand side, kind of in the middle. There can be gallbladder sludge, but also once the gallbladder's been removed, your liver still creates the bile. And that bile doesn't have anywhere to store and concentrate it because that's what the function of the gallbladder is. It's supposed to store and concentrate the bile. Then when fats hit that duodenum, bam, that gallbladder contracts, releasing this bile in there to emulsify the fats, to break the fats to fatty acids. Well, without the gallbladder, you have this constant drip, okay, of those bile acids. And this is where big contributing factor to duodenal ulcers. So you could have some dysfunction of the gallbladder, but understand, in order to have a gallbladder removed means that there had to be some type of chronic stress state. And this could be physical, chemical, or emotional stress causing the gallstone formation, because that's literally ultimately what it's formed from. So chemical stress could be medications, toxic food, poor sleep patterns. Emotional stress could be watching TV. and physical stress could be literally a problem in the pelvis and the cervical spine, because that's where the resting, digesting, and repairing nervous system is. So once you're addressing the physical, chemical, emotional stressors that caused your body to respond to chronic stress, creating the formation of those gallstones, once you get that handled, okay, but realize that the gallstones were formed because of a chronic state of stress, toxic food, medications, toxic lifestyles, something. There was some kind of cause there. So the doctor, a real doctor, is going to be a detective to identify the underlying cause. Another issue is the liver also refers to the right trap, but pain in that right side area towards the middle area where the gallbladder is, that can also be referred pain from a subluxation or pinched nerve in the back, particularly at the junction of the rib cage and low back, because that literally supplies that area and up a little higher. So doing a thorough structural assessment by taking an x-ray of the pelvis, mid-back, low back, cervical spine to identify that, beautiful. But identifying the underlying stressors that caused it is huge. Now, if you've had your gallbladder removed, you have to increase your healthy fats, as well as addressing the underlying stressors. So this means the fatty fish, grass-fed butter, healthy hormone-free butter, Butter with bacteria would be great. So like French and German butter still have good bacteria in it. And look at good fermented cheeses from healthy animals. So you're going to get healthy fats, but you got to increase your fats because that liver is still going to be creating the bile, and it's going to also protect the duodenum. So without a gallbladder, you have to increase your fat intake. Otherwise, you won't get the available fatty acids to produce the hormones and to, get good skin, hair, and good hormonal production. Now, is there anything that I should be doing to counteract that? Yeah. Increase fats, address the underlying stresses that formed it, and then you will get healthy, my friends. Now, if your question wasn't answered on this video, please visit the Dr. B VIP site because I'll respond to the rest of the questions there. So visit the Dr. B VIP site if your question wasn't answered. God bless you all and stay healthy, my friends.